About to show you guys how I created this bomb Fulani hairstyle. Most people refer to this as the Jadya Wayda, but it's really just a Fulani hairstyle with crochet in the back. I did use synthetic crochet. I'm starting off with blow dried hair. And right now I am just separating the top portion from the back portion because in the back it will be a braided foundation for the crochet hair. The inspiration for the cornrow part of the Fulani hairstyle I got from her, Alyssa Nicole. I seen it on Instagram and she was doing it to the back, and I was like, I could just cut it off right where the ear is and create the hairstyle into the Fulani look. So yeah, all the products that I'm using will be in the description box below. And yeah, I am using the Pure Neat braid for the braiding gel to make sure that my parts are nice and clean. I like to have my parts nice and clean, specifically because when the braiding begins, I don't want no hair placed in parts that just don't make sense. In the back, it doesn't have to be like perfect as far as size, but particularly in the top part, I am very particular. Considering I am doing a design, I want to make sure that it's nice and clean with nothing from the back part disturbing it. So that is why I am making sure that I get these parts nice and clean. Now I am going to put the back section away and start the top part, because I want to start this step first because the braids that will be at the top will connect into the braid foundation for the crochet. So in order for that to happen, I obviously have to start with the top part. So that's what I'm doing. I created a middle part because she does have a center braid, which is in between her eyeballs, if you will. The reason why I want to start off with the center part is because I'm going to take a little bit from each side, and that is how I create the center braid to be right in between her eyebrows. So you always start with a middle part, considering that I use the nose and just eyeballing it as how I do the middle part. But I take a little bit from the left and a little bit from the right, and right here I'm cleaning up the part just to make sure it's nice and defined before I step in front, and make sure that it is a clear shot as far as being right in between her eyebrows, to make sure the center braid turns out really nice and neat. And sometimes this can be super tricky depending on your client's dimension. So you might have to try again. I've been doing her hair for a long time, so I'm pretty much used to just certain parts, and plus I've been braiding for a very long time. But I can say that sometimes it can be difficult to find the middle part, but you want to make sure you step in front and you get a eye's view. Sometimes I ask my client to also look to make sure I'm not looking too hard. Now I am starting the braided section, and this part can be a little tricky. I am going to try and explain it to the best of my ability, but at some point I'm just going to stop the talking and let you guys watch how I created this, because it is a identical side when it comes to the design itself. You want to make sure that you try to get these portions about the same on each side, as close as you can. So once I get done with the middle braid, then I make like a little part and then I line it up with the back. And that's just another portion that just shows it to be hard. And I cross over this middle braid. So yeah. And you'll see me just go right on top. And then I'll just meet the center for the other side once you see me get done with this braid. This will be the second to last braid to be taken down. I always like to tell my clients how to take it down when doing crisscross. You're going to take this braid down first. Well, the braid that I'm going to do next down first, and then this braid, and then that middle braid when taking this section down. So be mindful of that when you're doing this design, if you decide to do this design. But yeah, I'm just braiding it, and I just braid a little bit off the scalp, just a little bit, because I am going to add rubber bands to the end, because I want to give that illusion that, you know, this is that curly hair is actually her hair. Here you can see a better shot of how I like lined up the sections as far as parting it. If you're finding value to this content, please hit that subscribe button, smash it, like. If you have any questions, just comment below. and I'll answer them to the best of my ability and try to explain and walk you guys through. But it's pretty much a watching game when it comes to this design and making sure that your client have a nice full grade of hair. Even if you don't, you can add extensions, but I specifically picked her because I knew she had a thick grade of hair. But if I had it to add in braiding pieces, I definitely would. I would have gotten like a very short length of pre-stretched braiding hair, and I would have fed it in just a little bit of it at a time and built the braid up. So yeah, so you can add extensions. You don't have to use the person's complete natural hair, but I like to. This hairstyle lasted about 3 weeks, and that was just with maintenance and care as far as taking care of the crochet. Now, if it was human hair in the back, I'm sure it would have lasted a lot longer. But since it was synthetic hair that I used, it lasted 3 weeks. So the human hair, I feel like, would have lasted a little while longer. And I do have a video that I will be showing in my shorts of how this hairstyle looked after 3 weeks. It will be for members only. So if you want to see the before and after, join the Royal Gem Slayer family on my channel. This is where you get exclusive footage of just things behind the scenes and stuff like that. Special shout outs as well. So yeah, join the membership so you can see the before, after, and just other things. You'll get early releases and etc. But now you see me doing the braids in between the crossover. And again, this is identical sides, so I will only be showing you one side of this hairstyle as far as doing the design. I didn't think it needed to be like a repetitive thing, just seeing the other side, because I did the exact same thing that you see on one side. So right now I'm starting on this side, and this will be the only side that I'm showing. But if you would like to see more of the full from beginning to end, let me know, because then I'll keep that in mind for future videos. And yeah, but I'm starting off with a braid here. You do not want to braid very tight. I always try to tell people that you don't want your client to have bumps at all on their scalp in no way, shape, or form, because they'll start pulling their hair follicles out and it'll be itching and it'll just not be, it'll be a nightmare. So right here, I am just parting around like the design that Alyssa Nicole that I showed you guys in the beginning did. And yeah, when I tell you, I watched that video over and over and over and over to just make sure that I got it to be close to identical as that. And again, hers is going straight back. Mine isn't. It is stopping at the, I want to say the ear point where the ear ends, like the back part of your ear. That's where I'm stopping it. And you want to take your time. You want to braid. Just continue watching me do this part. It's pretty much self-explanatory as far as watching me do it. But again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. that you see me complete the whole thing, well, just one half of it, now you're going to put rubber bands on it because you want to give that illusion. Like back in the day, they used to give the illusion that, well, it wasn't really illusion. Back in the day, a lot of people wore their real hair, which you can stop here, wear your real hair, maybe do like a twist out or a flexi rod set, and you are good to go. But anyway, I put rubber bands throughout the whole top, and I did that the second step because I'm going to start including those braids into this whole braid pattern. Right now I'm creating like I want to say it's like a anchor braid around the whole perimeter, and I'm doing it like a very thin part. In the back it's a little bit bigger, but at the side it's going to be a thin part because once I start adding in the ones that I put the rubber bands in, those parts in, it's going to thicken up the braid, considering that she has thick hair and she has long hair. But if your client hair isn't as thick as hers, you could definitely add more braids into this. But I wanted it to be able, the rubber bands to show and then the curly hair show. So that's why I put the rubber bands on prior. But you see how thin I am parting, just a little bit to grab from. And then I'm going to part regular. I get done doing this whole entire anchor braid. So on the two braids that are closest to the ears, those are the braids that I'm going to put into this anchor braid. Or I might put 3, but the ones 3 starting from the ear and going up, like the first 3 braids around the perimeter at the top are the ones I'm going to add into here. And you want to make sure that you have a clean braid pattern. It don't have to be super duper neat because again, no one's going to see this. This is all going to be covered up, but I like to keep a very neat foundation so that way the takedown, I won't be like, oh, is this my client's hair or not? Because you cut the beach curl hair out, but I don't like to have to even worry about cutting the person's hair. And if you want to see how I took this hairstyle down, I did it live on YouTube, so make sure you go check it out. It's in my live section and you'll see exactly how I took it out. And it was actually really cute when I took the braid pattern down in the back, and she could have just rocked it for a couple of days. But just continue to watch me do this anchor braid and basically just do this whole entire braid pattern. Also do want to say that you do not want to braid this anchor braid or just the foundation down super duper tight. It's a difference between tight and snug. You want it firmly just put into what it is, especially the part where the Fulani braids, which is the cornrows at the top, because I'm going to latch hook the other ones in to the back part of the braid pattern, which you'll see me do shortly. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys don't have it all super tight. You just want to have it firmly put, so that way when you crochet it in, you're not hurting your client, and that way you're not causing breakage and pulling the person's hair out. Now for the braids that I did not braid into the anchor braid, I am using this latch hook tool and I'm going to pull all of them through just like so, like this. You want to make sure that the braid is still showing the rubber band and it is on the outside of the anchor braid just to continue that illusion. And now I am going to continue my braid pattern foundation for the back part for the crochet. And this back part does not have to be perfect parts. You will not be able to see it. It'll be covered with curly crochet hair. But you do want to make a nice solid one. Make sure the braids are braiding and it's not no hair left out, because when you remove the crochet hair, you have to cut out the crochet hair. I don't take down the braid and do all that. And you'll see how I do the complete braid foundation like I've shown before in previous videos when doing this hairstyle. But yeah, and I've done different ways. You could also do a beehive if you want to. I didn't feel the need to do so. So I didn't. And I did add like I said, the braids from the top, the endings of it, the tips into the braid. And you're going to see how I do, like I raise the braid into a braid type of thing. I forgot what they call this braid foundation, but again, you can do a beehive, but I chose not to this time. I might do it the next time though, just because I like both. So I like to go back and forth. It doesn't really matter as long as it's nice, solid. It's not going to come down. No hairs are sticking out, and it's nice and neat to the neatest. Like I like it somewhat neat where the parts are at least parting. It don't have to be the same size and all of that, but I like it to be nice and solid. And I'm going from each end because I want one middle braid to grab the last two braids upward into the braid, which you will see me do that as well. Now that I'm done with the complete braid foundation and the crochet, I'm adding this As I Am oil, and I love this oil. It's been working miracles, and I just like to put it on before I actually tuck this last braid. I want to make sure that it's nice and oiled and moisturized, and then you're going to see me use the latch hook to tuck this hair, and you should really try to aim for the exact way that I am doing it, underneath and through the actual braid and then downward. And the reason why I like to do this way is my clients tend to not be able to find it and they don't end up cutting their hair, because I make sure I can just keep tucking every last part in. So takedown is easy. You just find that braid and you don't know that's that braid because two braids are in there, and then you just take it down. This is the next day, so I did reapply some oil, and that's what I'm doing right now to the top part. Some Blue Magic as well. And now I'm adding in this Beach Hero by Free Tress. And I'm doing the invisible method around the whole perimeter of the part where the crochet will be, because I want to give the illusion if you lift it up, you won't be able to see that it is crochet. It'll just look like it's coming on her scalp, even though we all know that this hair is fake. But you see I'm giving you a close-up view, and I'm just latching it in like so, like this. And that is how you get the invisible method. And I'm going to do that again throughout the entire anchor braid. With the braids that I pulled upward, I do want to say that when you were braiding it, I hope you did not pull it upward tight. You want it loose but firm, like a firm. And now you see me pretty much connecting them and anchoring them down just to make sure they don't move. And I'm doing it I'm using both braids, like so, like how you see me doing it. And that is how I make sure that these parts do not move afterwards and they're pretty much together. I also want to say that I did separate the hair and put it on my braiding rack, but you can easily put in each piece and then separate it once it's installed. I just tend to do it not in the person's head. To me, it helps me move faster. And then once I get done crocheting everything to the fullness that I desire, then I just be done with the hairstyle. And that's the reason why I like to separate prior to actually installation, because this part goes pretty fast. I would say it took probably like 3 hours to do this hairstyle with filming. And I don't want to say that it wouldn't have taken that long, only because the design was so intricate that I know it definitely would need time. So if you're doing a detailed design, most likely it'll take a little bit longer. But if you're doing a more simple designer, I would say this hairstyle only takes 2 hours to install. So it's really quick and easy. You don't have to worry about being in the chair very long. And again, I'm just showing you guys how I did the perimeter. And I'm also going to be showing you how I fill in spots once it does look pretty full. And I'm going to also show you guys how I make it look like an invisible method around the top part where the rubber bands are. And yeah, I hope you continue to enjoy. Again, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and comment what you like about this hairstyle. I would appreciate it. It really helps my channel grow. Once I've made it to the fullness that I desire, and cut it and clipped it, I like to add mousse to just redefine the curls and just help the curls make love together so they'll be looking great. And I like to put this on every couple of days or once a week just to make sure that the maintenance and care for this hairstyle is up to par. You do want to put your hair like into a high pony and wrap a scarf around when having this hairstyle with synthetic hair. And I would also recommend if you use the human hair to treat it and do the same. And when you want to take a shower, you want to cover it with the shower cap and the pineapple. And it's that easy. I'm doing the edges. You can leave out as much edges as you want. It's really up to you. I only leave out just enough. And here's the finished product. I hope you guys liked it. It turned out super cute. I really love this hairstyle. And if you need some more tutorials, here they are. Click on the playlist. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace and hair grease.